Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of Vehicle Reviews. In this episode, we're going to be reviewing the 2008 Honda Ruckus. Also known as the Honda Zoomer internationally, the Honda Ruckus was released in 2002 as a 49cc scooter as a more rugged alternative to its cousin, the Honda Metropolitan. Its 49cc engine produces about 5 horsepower and has a regulated top speed of about 40 miles per hour. It's designed as a single rider bike that can actually achieve about 114 miles per gallon on regular gasoline. Brand new, it listed just over $2,000 in 2008, and even today, they still come in under $3,000 brand new. 14 years later, these on the used market will still bring in anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, depending on the condition and the mileage on it. So overall, it's a pretty good value, and they actually hold their value pretty well, which isn't surprising for a Honda.
So I picked this Honda Ruckus up this past year. Previously, I've driven the sister model to this, which is the Honda Metropolitan. It's basically the same vehicle, it's just more off-road oriented. It's a 49cc scooter. Because it's a scooter, there are no shifters. It's a it's a one drive system. Goes up to about, I think the max is 40 miles an hour. I can usually get up to about 35, sometimes 43 if I'm going downhill, but there is a regulator in there which prevents you from going any faster. There are a lot of mods you can do to get this up to 50. That being said, you're sacrificing something to get up to that point. Usually it's acceleration for more high-end speed, and these things are not fast, but they sure are fun. It's pretty utilitarian as opposed to its sister scooter, the Honda Metropolitan. You can see you have a rack underneath here where you can put your any kind of backpack or luggage, whatever you got down there. The control is pretty basic. You have your lights, turn signals, all your basic operations required. It does have a low gas indicator, though it doesn't let you know how much gas is in it. It does have a odometer. You can see this one has about 5,500 miles on it. Has dual lights up front, and these work pretty well. You can also notice there's a hanger up here. You can put a ammo can or some other type of holder up here to carry stuff. It's pretty well guarded overall for off-road use. This has off-road tires on it. No, partially off-road, not obviously full dedicated off-road tires. And overall, it's a fun vehicle. This scooter gets about, I think it's around 112, 113 miles per gallon. Does really, really well. Visibility is really good. I know some of the complaints that I see are that the seat height is a little bit too forward or low. I've not had that problem. I'm about 5'10". I sit on this thing. You can see I'm pretty well here. Pretty good angle. It does have a full kickstand, so you push it up rather than lean it over. And overall, everything is right there. There are really no issues with the handlebars. They're right within reach. Overall, this is a really comfortable bike.
And of course, the open architecture of this really allows you to modify this as you want. You can do quite a bit with it. Even in the front here, if you look down here, well, you can see right down here is where the speaker is, and right above it, you can kind of put whatever you want there. And they leave everything else pretty basic. And I kind of like that, actually. The tires, kind of small, but you can put knobbies on it to give you pretty good traction. Oh, and speaking of tires, these are front and rear drum brakes, and given the weight, it actually stops pretty well. It doesn't stop too terribly, despite the fact it's not disc brakes. As we come along the side here, you can see the intake for the coolant, which is a liquid-cooled engine, which is good, and also the air intake. It's a little bit low, so it's not really a true off-road vehicle, but it'll get you done. And I mentioned before that this goes up on a stand rather than a side kickstand. I love that so much better. Other things, there's a little hook over here in case you want to hang your bag or your helmet. Down here is your fuel intake right on the floor. Again, it takes 87 octane, nothing too special. If you do want to change your battery, you access it with these screws here. and I had to open this up in order to add the battery tender, which I stuck out on the other side over there. And of course, this does have an electric start. It does have a kick start as well too, in case your battery runs too low. And lastly, this scooter actually has a parking brake, which obviously is handy when it's on the kickstand, but kind of handy if you're sitting in traffic as well too. Just put that on and just sit back. So speaking of traffic, let's go ahead and take it out to see how it does. Now, as you can imagine, this is one of the most sporty rides you could ever take out. Of course, I'm jesting here. It's a fantastically fun vehicle. You're not going to win any racing contests with this, but I think what these small bikes make up for in their lack of speed is just their overall fun. It's really easy to handle. You can turn on a dime. It's so light that you could literally pick it off the ground if you had to. And it's very approachable. And this is, I think, especially good for newer riders. It gives you, something to kind of go around and have fun with. One other thing to note about these two is that in a lot of states, including mine, if you're riding anything that's under 50cc, you actually do not need a motorcycle license. I know that's the case in Pennsylvania and many other states as well too. So this actually can be, a way to try out this, like maybe what it would be like to ride a motorcycle without actually going through the full process. It's kind of a way to kind of dip your feet in the water to see if it's right for you, and decide if you want to go any further into it. That being said, there are some differences, and there are some negatives to starting on a scooter. Obviously, you're going to have to eventually learn how to use a clutch, which honestly I think it sounds a lot harder than it actually is. But it is nice just to be able to ride around and turn that throttle on without having to worry about shifting too. And while you should always wear your gear, I'm always wearing all the gear all the time that I should be. I don't think you have to go to the full absolute Snell level of protection, just because, with something like this, it's going to max out at about 40 miles an hour, which is still dangerous, don't get me wrong. Any type of motorcycle, anything probably above, heck, even a bicycle going above 20 miles an hour, you could seriously injure yourself. And you could with this as well too, but things do move a little bit slower than they would on a traditional motorcycle. Alright, so if there's one thing the Honda Ruckus does not excel at, it's accelerating up hills. I took this same hill on a review of the Honda Rebel 500 ABS. We flew right up it. Just to give you a comparison, let's take a look at our odometer here. Speed limit on this road, I think, is around 45. So we'll see how fast we can get it and how long it's going to take. We're going to let this car pass us behind, and then we're going to get moving up here. You can see that car? Probably going to go up just fine. This thing, not so much. But that being said, sometimes slower is better. All right, let's rev it up a little bit, pre-rev it, and get going. And this throttle is all the way down, just in case you're wondering. We're up to 15, we're dropping down. We're almost down to 10. Back up to 15, woo! We're approaching 20, but it's evening out now. And we're reaching that top of the hill. So that's what you're looking at on a hill. We're still on an incline here. I'm going to get to a flat surface to show you what a 0 to 60 would be in this thing. Well, a 0 to maybe 35 is probably about the best you're going to do. Actually, you know what? This is relatively flat here. There's a little bit of an up, a little bit of a down, so this should give us a pretty good test here. So let's actually let it out and see how it does actually on a relatively flat surface. We're up to 20. Definitely a lot better on a flat surface, right? 25. We're up to 30. Did she get to 35 before we hit that downward? We'll see. She's working on it. Slow and steady. It looks like she's topping out about 34. Which is normally I usually get about 34 and 35 max. Now you see, once I go downhill, we're going to get closer and closer to 40. No, she just, even on the deepest hill, she will not go past 40 miles an hour. Let this person go, otherwise we're going to hold them up. So what you got here is a really approachable motorcycle. I think that's what this, or scooter I should say. Yeah, I'll call it a motorcycle. You know what? You know, people make a lot of big difference about a motorcycle versus scooter. It's got an engine, it's got two wheels. Ride's basically the same. You just put your foot down instead of on the side. And some of them you still put them on the side. So overall, you know, I think if you're looking for speed, obviously this is not it. But if you're just looking to have fun, there is something about a small CC motorcycle that if you're riding, you can go ahead and you can pull that all the way down, just hold it the entire time. You don't have to worry about going too fast, getting out of control. You can literally hold it like this for hours. And great thing too about this is you're going to do that getting about, I think it's 110 miles a gallon on this guy. So, something said about that too. Especially, you know, I actually sometimes prefer this in the winter. And the reason is that if you've ever ridden in winter, you know, the faster you go, it's going to, once you hit about 50, 60 in winter, well, probably all times, it's going to drop your temperature down about 20 degrees. So if I'm riding and it is maybe, 40 degrees, which is still, you can walk outside 40 degrees in the Northeast, you're fine. That goes down to 20. Woo! You are a lot colder there. So big difference there. We got some cow debris here. There's a local farm and dairy here. Gonna get through here. Guess we just turned this into a farm scooter. Well, not really, but I think actually this is what the Ruckus is really good for. It's a good commuter, but honestly there's better commuter scooters out there. What this is for is if you just want to have fun, you know, or if you're looking for a commuter where you maybe can take it off-road a little bit here or there. It does have chunky tires and it does pretty good in nasty conditions. The slow acceleration actually helps you out in nasty conditions because you're never going to peel out or push it too hard. Now this is a pretty heavy hill right here, so let's go ahead and take it down here. You can see what I mean. Again, it starts out flat. It's going to drop pretty quick. I'm going to turn this back on the odometer so we can take a look at this. I'm really letting it go now. It's a fun, approachable bike. Nothing crazy, nothing really dangerous that's going to get you in trouble. Just a fun bike. And you can see too, as far as we turn this down for just a second, you can see actually I got quite a bit of room here. I mean, it's not like I see all these reviews about how this is so small to sit in. And yeah, if you're 6 foot or 6'2", this might not be the bike, but if your average height like me, 5'10", yeah, I'm just fine.
Alright, so to this point, we've taken this Ruckus mostly on relatively nice roads. Now we're going to try and go ahead and take it out on some more interesting roads. This is Hollow Horn Road, which is going to start leading to some of those roads I've taken our Land Rover and Jeep down in previous videos. So let's see how this goes. And these are pretty steep roads and pretty windy. This one's paved, but we're going to hit some that are gravel only. And you can see even downhill, I'm not maxing past 40 miles an hour, which isn't a terrible thing. Now we're going to make it right up here. It's going to take us down my favorite roads, which we're probably not going to make it all the way through, because there's a creek crossing, and you know, I don't know what the wading depth is for this thing. I know it's not what my probably, well, you know, it could be deep, I don't know. I'm just not sure where the air box is. Well, actually, I think it's on the side, so if that's the side, I got probably maybe 12 to 15 inches at most. You know, it's roads like this, though, that are really fun to take your motorcycle out on in this area. They're windy, they're up and down. Some of my favorite roads to take on in this area. Not just in the bikes, but also in the Jeep and the Land Rover as well, too. Beautiful country, though. This is one of the earliest areas that was settled in the United States. It's Bucks County, which is one of the original 3 counties in PA, being Bucks, Montgomery, and Philadelphia counties. Not that far from here, there's Washington's Crossing. Over in Montgomery County, they have Valley Forge, where George Washington spent his long winter. Alright, so here is Municipal Road. It's one of the, it starts out okay right here. Of course, it's kind of windy, and we're gonna have a little bit of a trouble getting up here, but it's gonna do it. Slow, but it's gonna do it. Come on, you can do it. And then this road quickly devolves once we get on the downward trend here. I'm gonna start using my rear brake here to control myself on this descent. I got the brake down, I'm still moving. Got some debris. Like I said, I doubt this creek's probably be pretty swelled up. I doubt I'll be able to cross it today. Take a, well, also, oh, definitely not. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit too deep for our little Ruckus here. Yeah, our best bet would be to either go right over there, as you can see, or over to the side there. This is probably going to be about a good, it could hit 3 feet in the middle there. It drops down pretty quick. But, you know what, we'll go ahead and we'll turn this sucker around here. Spin up here and turn around. You can kind of see what this can do. I mean, it's just, you know, rocky roads. Like pretty much any motorcycle could probably take this, but the tires that this has, it could do pretty good. Alright, let's go ahead and spin around, head back, and we'll see how it does up that road. Take a little bit of the water here. Get his toes a little wet. Oop, that truck just went through. really an off-road bike. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I guess it's an off-road scooter. I mean, this could actually do some decent stuff. I watched a video once from Ryan F9. He reviewed 3, and this is the one he said he would take off-road if he took a scooter off-road. Kind of agree.
In case you're wondering how this can do off-road, let's take it down this part here, and you can see, I mean, this is we're starting to hit some grass, and it does pretty well. It stays pretty stable, and as I get further up here, we start going through some mud, and you know, it didn't skip a beat. It just kept on going through. It tracted through, and its low speed and low center of gravity actually really does help this scooter out a bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not some kind of off-road motorcycle like a Honda CRF 50 or something like that, but this does pretty good actually. You can have a little bit of fun with it.
You know, the one area you do run into with issues with this is braking. Obviously, drum brakes front and rear, so you need to telegraph your brakes in ahead of time. The left again, well, this side, that would be my left or your right looking at me, would be the rear brake, and of course the front brake is in the traditional spot on the right hand side of the driver or the rider. And these are manual brakes. There's no power brakes here, which at least that's one less thing that'll brake on your brake. Let's go ahead this way. That's the nice thing about these bikes is that even though they're only 49cc, they're fun to drive, I'll tell you. You ride around these, you can push it, just hold it down the whole time, push it to its limit. Don't have to worry about pushing it too hard. You just wail on it all day and you're good.
So what are your final thoughts on this scooter, and would you buy it? There are so many pros to this scooter. I mean, it gets 114 miles per gallon, so you can't beat that. It's very low maintenance and it runs like a tank. It's a Honda. It's relatively safe given its low center of gravity, its lightweight stands, and also its limited speed. Just not being able to go that fast is like actually a safety thing as well too in many ways. It has a much lower learning curve. If you can ride a bicycle or e-bike, it's a pretty straightforward transition. Even the braking controls are generally the same. Its open architecture is awesome looking, in my opinion, and it really lets you customize it. Another thing to mention is that this bike has a huge fan base, and the community behind it. I mean, there are so many clubs and forums and groups you can join. The support is near endless in terms of options as well. There are some cons. The limit of 40 miles an hour is going to keep you off highways and limit where you can ride this, and also how far you can ride it too. You can't lock your helmet in a compartment like most scooters, but it does have that locking mechanism on the side. One other note, if you do take your riding test on this, you may have your license restricted. I know in PA, your M-Class endorsement can be limited if you take it on a trike or a scooter. Not sure how every state works, but I can't imagine mine is the only one to do this, so do your research first. Another way around this course is just take the motorcycle safety course, which often ends with a riding test, and they let you use their motorcycle and not yours. All in all, I think it may be one of the best options if you're looking for a small displacement scooter or motorcycle. The lack of acceleration or speed may have you questioning how fun it is, but there's just something thrilling about being able to fully open that throttle, maxing it out, and holding it there. I mean, heck. And last but not least, I did buy this, so the answer is pretty obvious. It's a yes from me. I would probably never keep it as my only bike, but it's a great option from time to time, so definitely recommend this scooter. Anyway, I hope this helps, and if it did, please click like and subscribe for future content. It really does help out the channel. I do try to push out as many videos as I can while working a full-time schedule, and I do have some more content coming out on additional reviews. I am going to do a review of the Metropolitan, which is its sister scooter, so keep an eye out for that as well too in the coming months. And until I see you in our next video, get out there, make your own great outdoor adventures, and as always, take care.